Cubs fans, buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you will have you jumping out of your seats, calling your buddies, and maybe even shedding a tear or two. We're talking about a story that has everything. A rising superstar who's rewriting the record books, front office moves that could change everything, and the kind of wheeling and dealing that championship dreams are made of. Right now, as we speak, there's a young phenom in a Cubs uniform who's making baseball history at a pace that's got even the most seasoned scouts doing double takes. We're talking about someone who's not just playing good baseball. He's playing at an all-star level that's putting him in conversations with Aaron Judge himself. Yes, you heard that right. Aaron freaking Judge. But that's just the beginning of this wild ride, Cubs faithful. While our rising star is torching opposing pitchers and stealing bases like he owns them, Jed Hoyer and the front office are making moves behind the scenes that could transform this team from NL Central leaders into legitimate World Series contenders. We're talking about veteran arms, proven closers, and the kind of deadline dealing that could cement 2025 as the year everything changes at Wrigley. And here's the kicker. While other teams are sitting on their hands, wondering if they should buy or sell, our Cubs are 5 games up in the division and making it crystal clear, we're going for it all. This isn't just about making the playoffs, Cubs Nation. This is about bringing home another championship to the North Side. If you're not already hitting that like button and getting ready to share this with every Cubs fan you know, you're missing out on the biggest Cubs story of the season. Comment below with your predictions, because what you're about to read will have you questioning everything you thought you knew about this 2025 roster. So grab your rally cap, pour yourself a cold one, and get ready for a story that starts with a 23-year-old kid who's about to become a household name across baseball. Cubs fans, meet your new favorite player if he isn't already, Pete Crow Armstrong. This 23-year-old dynamo isn't just having a good season. He's having the kind of breakout year that legends are made of, and he's doing it in a Cubs uniform that looks better on him every single game. Picture this, a kid who was drafted by the Mets 5 years ago, traded to Chicago in 2021 as part of the Javier Baez deal, and now he's absolutely obliterating every expectation anyone had for him. We're talking about a .276 batting average, 55 RBIs, and an OPS of .866 that has opposing pitchers losing sleep at night. But here's where it gets absolutely insane. His 17 home runs have him tied for 8th in all of Major League Baseball, with none other than Pete Alonso. The same Pete Alonso whose former team traded away, the very player who's now matching his power numbers. The baseball gods have a sense of humor, don't they? But Cubs faithful, the home runs are just the appetizer. This kid became the 4th fastest player in over a century to reach 15 home runs and 20 stolen bases, doing it in just 60 games. Let me repeat that, 60 games. We're watching history unfold right before our eyes at Wrigley Field, and Pete Crow Armstrong is writing it with his bat and his blazing speed. And if you think that's impressive, wait until you hear this. His WAR sits at 3.8, ranking him 3rd in all of baseball. The only players ahead of him, Cal Raleigh with 4.0 and Aaron Judge with 5.6. That's it. That's the list. Our 23-year-old outfielder is in the same conversation as the reigning AL MVP, and Cubs fans everywhere should be losing their minds right about now. The All-Star Game selections are coming, and Pete Crow Armstrong isn't just a candidate. He's expected to be a first-time All-Star starter. Can you imagine? A kid who was an afterthought in a trade 4 years ago is now potentially starting the Midsummer Classic for the National League. But here's what really gets my heart racing. Cubs Nation, this is just the beginning of our story. Because while Pete Crow Armstrong is setting the baseball world on fire, Jed Hoyer is working the phones, and what he's cooking up could turn this magical season into something truly special. Cubs fans, if you thought Pete Crow Armstrong was the only reason to get excited, you haven't been paying attention to what's happening in the front office. Jed Hoyer isn't just sitting back and admiring our 5-game lead in the NL Central. He's actively hunting for the pieces that could make this team unstoppable. Here's the situation that has me absolutely fired up. Our offense is ranked 2nd in runs scored across all of baseball. 2nd, we're mashing the ball. We've got Pete Crow Armstrong rewriting record books and Kyle Tucker providing veteran leadership. But here's where it gets interesting. Our starting rotation has dropped to 19th in the league, primarily because Justin Steele and Shoto Eminaga have been battling injuries all season long. So what does a championship-minded front office do? They go shopping for an ace. Enter Zach Eflin from the Baltimore Orioles. And Cubs faithful, this is where things get really spicy. According to Cubs insider George Offman, Chicago has their sights locked on this 31-year-old veteran who brings exactly what we need: postseason experience, proven durability, and the kind of steady presence that can anchor a rotation through October. Eflin is sitting at 5.2 with a 4.47 ERA, but don't let that number fool you. This guy has struck out 31 batters while walking just 8 in 46.1 innings. For a Cubs rotation that's been inconsistent due to injuries, he's exactly the kind of innings eater who can stabilize everything and give our bullpen the rest they desperately need. But here's what's got me most excited about this potential move. It signals that this organization is going all in on 2025. We're not playing it safe, we're not building for tomorrow, we're building for right now. With Pete Crow Armstrong playing like a superstar and our offense firing on all cylinders, adding a veteran like Zach Eflin could be the missing piece that transforms us from division leaders to World Series favorites. The Cubs are reportedly sending scouts to watch Eflin's next start against Detroit. And you know what that means, Cubs Nation. This isn't just tire kicking. This is serious business. This is Jed Hoyer saying we're buyers, we're contenders, and we're coming for everything. But wait, because if you think adding starting pitching is the only move this front office is considering, you're in for one final surprise that could seal the deal on our championship aspirations. Cubs faithful, here's where this incredible story reaches its crescendo. And I need you to understand just how perfectly all these pieces are falling into place. We've got Pete Crow Armstrong playing at an all-star level. We've got the front office targeting Zach Eflin to solidify our rotation. And now we're talking about adding the closer who could lock down October for the North Side, Kyle Finnegan from the Washington Nationals. Remember that name, Cubs Nation, because he might just be the final piece of our championship puzzle. Here's why this move has me absolutely convinced that 2025 is our year. Finnegan has 18 saves through just 21 chances, a 2.38 ERA, and the kind of ice-cold mentality you need when October games are on the line. While Daniel Palencia has been solid for us, and Ryan Presley has provided veteran leadership, Finnegan brings 106 career saves and the kind of postseason experience that you can't teach. The beautiful irony? Chicago was already in contact with Finnegan back in December. Jed Hoyer wasn't just planning for this season. He was planning for this exact moment when we'd be leading the division and ready to make the moves that separate contenders from pretenders. Washington is 30-35 and falling fast out of playoff contention. They're going to be sellers, and we're going to be buyers with the kind of aggressive mentality that won us a World Series in 2016. Finnegan is on a one-year, $16 million contract, which means he's the perfect rental for a team that's going all in on right now. Think about it, Cubs fans. Pete Crow Armstrong providing superstar-level production, Zach Eflin stabilizing our rotation, and Kyle Finnegan slamming the door shut in the ninth inning. This isn't just building a playoff team, this is building a championship roster. If you're not already sharing this story with every Cubs fan you know, commenting below with your World Series predictions, and hitting that subscribe button for more Cubs coverage, you're missing out on the most exciting Cubs season in years. The question isn't whether the Cubs can make the playoffs. It's whether the rest of the National League is ready for what's coming their way. Are you ready to believe in championship magic again, Cubs faithful?